Welcome back to RLCS Overtime, ladies and gentlemen. We've gotten through days 1 and 2. We've got day 3 of the LAN left here to recap. I'm your host, Wave Punk. We got Kevin Brown, got Alex Rodriguez, not the baseball player,
oh, that
the other
sounds
one.
Weird. That actually sounds really weird.
Our names.
It is what is featured on the lower third, you know.
Yeah, that's true.
It is every time. That's what's there first. But the first thing we did on day 3 was introduce our DFH Community Award winner, which was something that we introduced on Overtime back a few weeks ago. But the DFH Community Award winner, if you did not remember, is awarded to the single player that most positively impacts and embodies the community, as determined by a panel of RLCS analysts and administrators, such as ourselves. We awarded this to Jacob.
Jacob earned it. I mean, he's always been such a positive guy, no matter what. If you ever tune into his stream, even his interviews on stage, that beautiful, goofy laugh of his, I think it puts a little smile in all of our hearts when you hear him laugh. But he's always such a positive player. He does well. You can tell he practices. You can tell he grinds, no matter who his teammates are. And he's just a nice guy.
Yeah, and he's actually, risen up in the community, setting up his own tournaments, doing his own things within the community, and that really showed through to the analysts and everyone judging. So I think no one else deserves it more than Jacob does. And again, really great guy. Always fun to bring him on the broadcast as well and interview him. And he has that silly foam hat, which everyone loves. So.
Oh, Jacob, a fantastic, just brilliant ball of positivity in all ways. So we're going to talk about the matches that happened, starting off with the Leftovers versus Flipside, a rematch of my favorite match of the regular season. This was crazy. The Leftovers knocking out the world champions in 5 games. Oh my goodness.
This was when you realized this is the scrappiest team against the scrappiest team.
Yeah.
Neither team ever admits defeat. They just know that towards the very end. And this is when we all assume, all right, now we're going to see Flipside do well during the lower bracket.
Yep.
Right. This is when they kind of all go Super Saiyan. Flipside's like, oh, we might lose? Okay, let's do the best possible. But turns out Leftovers are scrappier.
Yeah, and this is day 3. It all comes down to this. There's no more second chances. You never know what's going to happen on that stage. And as you said, historically, we're like, all right, this is where Flipside, this is their moment. This is where they thrive. But the Leftovers is like, you know what? No, we're going to win. We're going to take down Flipside. And I think it surprised a fair amount of people. Flipside knocked out by the Leftovers. I feel like a lot of people had them going all the way to the finals, as what happened in Amsterdam, but not today.
My favorite part of LAN, I think one of my favorite things from LAN, and it was in 4 games rather, excuse me, they were able to do it there in 3. My favorite part of LAN was Farah at the end of this series, throwing down his controller, standing up and throwing his arms in the air to the crowd to celebrate. The way that rookie just livened up, embraced the live environment was so beautiful. Second match we're going to talk about here, Northern versus Rogue. Both these teams, again, in the lower bracket, you lose and you go home. Northern Gaming, a team that we were wondering how are they going to perform with their sub-turbo. They dropped to the lower bracket, but then they lit it up here on day 3.
I can't give enough credit to Turbo Pulse. Coming in and Northern Gaming, it was like the biggest topic of conversation. Without Maestro, how will they do? We know Turbo's good, but we hadn't seen him at RLCS, but apparently, when no one was paying attention, he'd been practicing so well. And Rogue, even with the crowd at their back, this seemed to kind of start to crumble in this series.
Yeah, Rogue quickly became a fan favorite there at the event, at the Wiltern in Los Angeles, and every European team had to deal with that, and no exception here. Northern Gaming had to go up on that stage. They were not the crowd favorite, but they're an amazing team, amazing fundamentals. We call them a dynasty in the European region, and they're able to play their game, sound mechanics, and carry through a victory.
Yeah, and then Northern Gaming, a team that, as you said, they're from Europe. They're going up here against a North American fan favorite. As this tournament went on, I felt like the crowd warmed up more and more to Northern Gaming as they were just looking so strong here. And Northern Gaming, a team that after losing in day number 1 was feeling like we just want to see how far we can get. We're not expecting to make it very far. I remember talking to them not at the beginning of this match, but at the beginning of the next match, Northern versus the Leftovers. I think we were talking to Remco and we're asking him how they felt about the tournament, and Remco straight up told me NRG was going to win the whole thing. They really felt that NRG had this one in the bag, but they were on fire in day 3.
They really, honestly, and to hear that, just the amount of respect from one player to another, and just to understand, hey, I think they're the ones to take it through. I think maybe NRG, they could have given a little bit too much, but by now it's too late. Northern Gaming were ramping up. They were the big question, we talked about it, Wave, the big question mark going into it. How are they going to perform with a sub? Now, they still have Vivo and Remco, and you can't count those 2 out, but it really means so much to have that third, and it did not matter to them.
Yeah, I felt like the Leftovers story was so strong with dropping out Flipside there. If anything, it didn't make it any farther after that. Even when they started the season as a team that nobody knew, come out, beat Northern and Flipside, and then their season ends by beating Flipside and knocking them out of the World Championships. To lose here to Northern Gaming was no small feat. There was no what's the word I'm looking for? Didn't look bad for them. They end up in 4th place in the world. The leftovers, such a strong team, still free agents.
An awesome season for them, as you said, but eliminated there by Northern Gaming by a score of 3-0, and that's 6-0 for Northern Gaming at that point. And this is where everyone's like, okay, is this happening again? Are we going to see another lower bracket run?
Yeah, and Northern Gaming there, they were able to move into the top 3, which is they had finished 3rd place in Season 1. They finished 3rd place in Season 2. At this point, they were guaranteed to finish 3rd place again. The most consistent team in Rocket League across all of RLCS.
They honestly have. And just watching those guys perform, it means Devo, Season 2, I think everybody started to just love him. He really made a name for himself. That's when he became like a Rocket League household name, was the plays he was able to pull out. And he was quiet here and there. We didn't see him as loud in Season 3, but you can tell even when the pressure starts to build up, his mechanics are just almost flawless. He rarely makes mistakes. He's always there when he needs to. And it seems that him and Remco were working just as well together, and Turbo just fit perfectly with the 3.
And not only a household name, but like the entire country of Australia considers a double touch off the backboard a Devo. So yeah, huge setup for Northern Gaming here, going 6-0, and that's so key. In that live environment on the final day, there's no more second chances, and you start off that strong. Really exciting for the rest of the day.
Yeah, Northern Gaming looking very strong, but moving to the upper bracket, the winners finals between Mocket and NRG. This is the matchup we were waiting for all day, and it did not disappoint, but Mocket does not disappoint Gibbs here. The way that they played in this 3rd day was so strong as they dropped NRG to the lower bracket.
I think this is the Mocket we were all hoping for, since they had a wavy season. Even talking to Mystic in the interview, he even a moment understood that in his season they really didn't come out strong and they didn't prove themselves. And he made a joke that Gibbs was a lot of the reason for why he performed. I don't know if that was totally accurate or not, and if it was, power to him. But this was when you really started to see them punished. They went against a team that really, I think, had a lot of momentum on their side, and they did not care.
Number 1 from Europe, number 1 from North America. This is the stage that everyone was looking for, and we still have those regional disparities in Rocket League. It's still there. Sorry, Europe is still the best. I think most people would agree with that across the board. The depth is there, and this was Mocket rising up and saying, hey, we're European powerhouse, NRG. Great job taking out Flipside and Northern Gaming, but we're good. And they showed it, and what a victory there for Mocket.
Yeah, had to go all the way, and not only was it the number 1 seed from Europe versus the number 1 seed from North America, it was the North American MVP of Jacob against the European MVP of KDOP. So much just bragging rights on the line here in this winners final. Craziness going the full distance, but it was Mocket who advances to the grand finals, still had not lost, which is critical because that means they had to lose 2 times to be defeated in the grand finals. NRG drops to the lower finals where they face off against Northern, who's been making the run, as you pointed out, 6-0 so far in the day, and they would not stop here as NRG had made the run of the ages, but they would end in 3rd place.
And that was about where they wanted. Speaking to Garrett a few times, he's like, our target is 3rd, 4th place. We just want to prove to ourselves that we can do it one step at a time, which I thought was really cool of them to understand, like, hey, we keep not performing. Let's prove to ourselves we can. So I think they broke through both their barriers and they came close, but the ramping of Northern Gaming proved to be too strong.
And this is so tough for NRG. Just such a close series in that upper final. After they won that first game against Mocket 6-0. Forgot to mention that. Remember that? And then it goes all the way to 7 games, and they drop down the lower bracket, and the crowd is still wanting NRG to do well. A lot of people online rooting for NRG. They're like, all right, maybe this is their moment. But again, Northern Gaming, they started out this day 6-0. This is like the team you look for, all right? What team is going to rise up when everything matters and just beat everyone? And that was Northern Gaming in this moment.
I felt like Northern Gaming, like I said, the crowd kind of warmed up to them as they went on. It was Northern Gaming that dropped out both Rogue and NRG. The North American sweethearts beaten here by this dynasty from Europe. And at that point, you have to respect this team. You have to be like, these are the guys that knocked out our champions. Let's address them. Let's pick them up. And let's move forward with that. It was incredible to watch Northern Gaming beat NRG there, and now they were set for the grand finals.
In every series, Northern Gaming just looked, it almost seemed like they were getting calmer and calmer as the day went on, as opposed to the other way around. Even being one match away from getting knocked out at any given point, now that they were in the lowers, their mechanics almost seemed to get better as the day went on, which you'd feel like would be the opposite, because their opponents are getting more difficult, and also they're getting closer and closer to the finals.
Yeah, beautiful to watch Northern Gaming. So the stage was set. Northern Gaming versus Mocket. These two teams, we talked about it before. K-Dop and Company is this team that Gibbs has been rooting for. Nobody else has been expecting them to be here. Northern Gaming, a team that we thought was going to be doing great, but then they drop, or don't drop. Meister's not able to make it, and they have to play with their sub. How is it going to go? Our grand finals were a match for the ages. I could not believe it. We got a Game 7 in our second series because we saw in the first series Northern Gaming beat Mocket in 6 games, and they were able to set the bracket. Again, that's two seasons in a row we've had a bracket reset in the grand finals.
Which is amazing from a spectator point of view. And again, Northern Gaming continuing that streak in that first series. A lot of question marks going into this match. Like, I think the desk was split, honestly, if I remember correctly. Who's going to win this? Is it Mocket? Is it Northern? And for the purposes of the broadcast and the season and all of RLCS leading up to this point, it could not be any better. I think without a doubt, 6 of the top players in the world, and we got to see him compete in such a close match.
It was crazy to see here a 6-1 where Mocket had been beaten 6-0 in the very first game against NRG, and then 1-goal games the entire series.
Crazy.
Northern able to eke it out, and what was such a defensive series. We go to the bracket reset. We go to the next match, and these guys continue to play so defensively the whole time. And I want to point out, Devo was on Mocket in Season 2 in the Grand Finals, was a defensive monster in their 7-minute overtime. He made so many saves, and he continued to be this wall of defense here for Northern Gaming.
This was clinical Rocket League. This was Rocket League at its finest. They were just playing smart. They were playing decisive. Every decision they made had reason for it. They weren't doing anything risky. Both teams, they picked the same exact play style, which is why at times it felt like a stalemate and every game went to a single goal. But it's because they were just both playing nearly perfectly.
I think that's an amazing point. It's such a difference from just jumping on the ladder and queuing those games, right? This is the moment that these teams have been building towards the entire season. There's no second chances after this. It's the final best of 7 to decide the world champion. Play definitely slowed down. We saw low-scoring games. But that's amazing for our purposes because that's how close it became, and every single move mattered, every single pass mattered, every single goal, every single touch. And that's what you want to see in the World Championships of Rocket League.
And it means so much to these guys. I think that was the first time we've ever seen, like, Remco kind of in that emotional state.
Yeah.
He's usually, you know, the funny guy on Twitter. He likes to mess around, but seeing him kind of hit that stage, you know how much it meant to these guys.
You know that they did not expect to be here at the beginning of the day. They were just like, let's just see how far we can get. They managed to win the whole thing with a sub player. Now, 2 of our 3 seasons of RLCS have involved a sub player coming out and getting the victory. First, it was Over0 in Season 1. Turbo Pulsa added to that list here. It took the full 7 games for them to pull it off, and only 1 goal there, I believe scored by Devo. These guys were incredible.
I mean, let's not forget, they had to play 14 games back-to-back, these two teams.
Yeah.
Do you guys understand how much Rocket League that is? I mean, that's endurance.
And on top of that, Northern Gaming had to come through the lower bracket. So, you know, even more games, even more matches for them. But able to, you know, you reach your final form, I guess you might say, and they're able to do that at the perfect moment in that lower bracket, make that run through the lower bracket, which is so much fun to watch, and then to go up against Mocket, where it's like the titans of the game, and you've like been battling and bruising your way through the lower bracket, able to convert it to a second best of 7 and able to win, coming all the way to the 7th game, all the way to the last goal.
Yeah.
And they're our champions.
Incredible. 1 goal can decide games, and it does there in game number 7. And a huge part of that for Northern Gaming. We've been talking about him already. Devo here is crowned the World Championship MVP. This guy was so strong in Seasons 2, comes into Season 3 as a key component of this Northern Gaming roster, and helps deliver them to being the World Champions here in Season 3.
If there's one person I would just put my life in their hands, it'd probably be Devo. He's always where his team needs him to be. Defense, offense, it doesn't matter. He does everything he needs to do the moment he's needed. He'll never cave under pressure.
I think he might be taller than both of us, Sweet Punk.
Combined.
Devo?
Yeah.
He's taller than both of you guys
He's
combined.
pretty tall.
He's like 6'6" or like 6'7".
Man, he was.
I'm not even kidding.
The Season 2, when he was on a team with Violent Panda and Pashy, I know was 6'7".
that's a mess.
And that was like, we were joking about how that's like the Rocket League basketball team. These guys all such monstrous people. But Devo.
And you know, we mentioned earlier, I've been a fan of Devo for so long, and it's so fun to see him really, again, come into his own. he came so close in Amsterdam on that Moffitt squad. So to see Devo able to convert, able to help his team through the World Championships this season while having a sub, so dealing with that adversity as well. Just such a cool storyline. I'm so happy for Devo and his ability to just rise up when it absolutely matters.
Yeah, beautiful story here in Season 3. Northern Gaming, the Dynasty in Flux, comes out to win it all, and it was amazing to watch it. So that will do it in our coverage of the 3 days of the World Championship.